Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
In the western Iraqi city of Al-Qa'im, new confrontations between the American occupation forces and the Iraqi resistance has taken place. According to the Reuters news agency, American forces have launched attacks against the city of Karbala and Romana in the northern part of the city of Al-Qa'im. Due to the ferocity of the attacks and the American siege of the two cities, casualties are unknown. Abdel Khalid Arawi, the director of the telecommunications in Al-Qa'im, confirmed that there aren't any foreign armed fighters from outside Iraq in the city of Al-Qa'im, and only the people of Al-Qa'im are fighting the American occupiers. Arawi further added in an interview with Al Jazeera Network that the people have fled the area and are seeking refuge in the nearby desert, and nothing can be heard except for prayers coming out of the mosques and the sound of American gunfire. According to unidentified sources, roads are closed in the area, and the wounded are not allowed to seek medical attention in the alternate hospital since the main hospital has been destroyed by the American attacks. Service centers and schools are closed. Telecommunications have been cut off for 4 days, and the technicians cannot fix it due to the intensity of the attacks. Arawi added that an anonymous source has confirmed that 2 American helicopters have been downed, one in the city of Karbala and the other in the village of Bubaya. An American military source has denied such a claim, and Arawi confirmed that the American attacks destroyed a mosque and a large number of homes last night in the town of Romana. According to Hamdil Alusi, the hospital director in Al-Qa'im, the city has been completely isolated, and ambulances cannot reach their destinations, which make it impossible to know the number of casualties. The American forces announced that 15 American soldiers have been killed and 20 were injured during 3 days of military attacks against the city of Al-Qa'im. Regarding the developments in Al-Qa'im, we have our reporter from there, Ziad Al-Munajid. Ziad, good evening.
Good evening, Adal.
Regarding the situation in Al-Qa'im, the western city of Iraq, what is the real situation there?
Regarding the situation in the city and county of Al-Qa'im, fierce battles and gunfire have been exchanged between the insurgents and the American forces, which has been confirmed by American sources. For Americans to announce that 15 soldiers are dead and 20 are injured shows that the fighting has been fierce. Today, military operations resumed by launching missiles, using helicopter gunships against houses in the towns of Karbala, Romana, and Al Jazeera, which caused casualties among civilians, including children. According to hospital sources, families have not been able to transport the victims for medical attention. Furthermore, eyewitnesses have confirmed the downing of 2 American helicopters in the city of Karbala and its vicinity, despite the American denial of such an incident. American forces are trying to raid the cities of Karbala and Romana, while the people of these towns are resisting with counterattacks. Insurgents have detonated a car full of explosives, which rocked the area. Its primary target were military vehicles passing on the bridge of Romana. The explosion caused the destruction of 1 military vehicle and resulted in an unknown number of casualties among the American forces.
In one of the most violent days in Iraq, at least 70 people were killed and dozens of others were wounded during suicide explosions and operations in various cities. These operations occurred simultaneously early this morning, indicating that they are highly organized, hitting those who are seeking work at police stations and in the army.
This is how Baghdad appeared today. Continuous explosions and many victims. Mamoun Street in Mansour district in central Baghdad is part of these developments. A car bomb targeting an Iraqi police patrol unit exploded, killing a woman and wounding 3 police officers. The explosion damaged 7 vehicles that were parked on the side of the street and destroyed a number of nearby shops and residential buildings.
As I was entering the shop, the explosion happened. Everything fell down and glass shattered. We ran outside and saw the booby-trapped car that exploded. It was on fire. We saw a lady who was burned to death. God rest her soul.
As usual, the U.S. forces and Iraqi police created a security belt around the area. And then, unknown gunmen fired at a police officer. He sustained serious injuries. Heavy gunfire erupted at a suspected house, which was later surrounded, but no gunmen were found. Away from Baghdad, violence expanded to the city of Tikrit. Car bombs went off, killing 31 people and wounding 67 others. These were the initial numbers that were reported after a car bomb exploded on a crowded downtown street. A similar operation was carried out in Kirkuk. A suicide bomber detonated himself in the middle of a crowd of volunteers in the city of Hawija, killing 30 people and wounding 50 others. Some are in critical condition. Violence continues to afflict Iraqis. Security and stability are hostage to different types of operations. Security measures seem to be tight, but at the same time ineffective in stopping the situation from deteriorating. Hussein Abdel Wahab, IBA TV, reporting from the explosion site on Mamoun Street, Baghdad.
Iran announced that it will resume some of its nuclear activity in the city of Isfahan, where they transform uranium into a gas. According to Iranian officials, this decision was made after difficult negotiations with the United Nations. Tehran's announcement caused the United States and the European Union to present Iran's case to the United Nations Security Council. Meanwhile, former Chief Weapons Inspector Hans Blix is calling on Iran and Israel to limit their uranium enrichment activities in the Middle East.
In Iran, candidates are registering for next month's election, but the election is not shifting the focus away from the all-too-present issue. Iranian officials meet on a daily basis at the National Security Council and at the Shura Council to discuss their nuclear programs. The decision to resume some of the activity was taken without setting a timetable to coincide with the negotiations with the European Union. There is international scrutiny on Iran, but they refuse to accept any preconditions that would prevent them from enriching uranium for scientific and technological purposes. The West, beginning with the United States, fear that Iran's nuclear program will lead to the manufacturing of nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Iranian parliamentarians are calling for the resumption of their program before the presidential election. Some of them voiced their objection to signing an additional protocol by the Iranian Foreign Ministry as a sign of goodwill, stating that their technological centers will submit to more inspections, even surprise inspections.
We decided to resume some of our activities in Isfahan. Currently, we are in the process of making more complete decisions.
Everything is pending an agreement between Iran and the European Union for cooperation in the fields of technology, commerce, and politics. Iran is demanding that the EU and the United States dismiss their terms that demand that the Iranian government permanently stop their uranium enrichment program. The EU and the US feel that this condition will prevent Iranian authorities from developing nuclear weapons. Furthermore, the European Union and the United States are using the Security Council as a weapon, which, according to the Iranians, escalates the crisis with the United Nations. Washington threatened to respond if Iran implements its decision to resume its uranium enrichment program, in violation to their agreement with the European Union. But according to an article in the Paris Agreement, if the negotiations do not lead to results 3 months after they start, then the negotiations will stop, noting that they were resumed last November. Tehran believes their scientific programs for the purpose of producing electricity and energy is a right they won't compromise, especially since it contributes to reducing the budget and reducing pollution in a number of Iranian cities.
On Tuesday, hundreds of citizens gathered outside the press agency in Cairo to express their support for President Mubarak. Protesters were chanting phrases in support of the president and the steps he has taken to strengthen democracy. They demanded that he continue on the path of political reforms.
While Parliament members were discussing the historic change of the Constitution Article 76, a diverse demonstration that included all different segments of the Egyptian population took place outside the headquarters of the press agency. They freely expressed their opinion of the new changes.
Today, nothing is banned in the country. Whoever wants to say something can say it. Everyone can say their opinion. Today, the president changed things so the presidential candidates can be elected. Whoever wants to present an alternative program can. Whoever has something good to say, let him say it. We do not want sabotage and violence. We came here to show our support to the president, and we have the list of the party. We have the platform of the National Democratic Party for the next 5 years. People from different parties can do what we are doing. All of us are Egyptians. The opposition parties are Egyptians. The National Party members are Egyptians. My brother belongs to an opposition party. I am in the National Party. All of us are brothers. We do not want violence.
Our country is respectable and has sovereignty and a leadership role in the region. We want a democracy that serves the public and promotes progressive political reforms. Every day we see progress. Today, Article 76 was amended after 50 or 60 years. Now, there is a democratic space for the opposition, the Kifaya opposition party. We respect all of them. All of us are Egyptian under the leadership of Mubarak. This is wonderful. People can express their opinions by voting.
All different segments of the Egyptian population are represented here in the demonstration. Poor and humble people and educated people. All of us came today to say yes to Mubarak. He's the best ruler that Egypt has ever had. He avoided war in the country. If it wasn't for him, we would be another Iraq or Palestine. He defended our lives and saved us from bloodshed. If it wasn't for him, we would not be like this now. All of Egypt is standing behind Hosni Mubarak. All of Egypt says yes to Mubarak. The Egyptians have always been Muslims and they've been living in harmony with the Christian Coptics.
I was among those who fought in Kuwait. We defend all Arab countries, and they are supposed to know the value of our president even more than us. Egypt is the mother of the world.
Everyone you see here came at their expense. We paid money from our own pockets. We want to thank Mubarak because he took care of the Egyptians. What we have is enough. We do not need any foreign aid. Mubarak, I want to tell you that we are behind you, all the peasants of Suad.
Protesters held banners asking for political reforms while mentioning Egyptian sovereignty. Other signs are in support of President Mubarak. The supporters and the opposition all agree that what is happening in Egypt at this stage is a positive thing and that it must be utilized for a better future while protecting people's right to express their opinions.
We must implement what the president is saying. We must implement democracy. The government must allow people to hold demonstrations, regardless of who they support or oppose in the government. This demonstration is in support of the president, but others are against him. We should hear both sides, because if we heard different opinions, then we will have a better chance to make the right decision that serves our country, Egypt.
We are saying yes to the president with all the force we have, because those who are nominating themselves are not equivalent to this man. The president is a historic miracle, and we do not know everything about him. He sacrificed his life and children for the sake of Egypt and all of us.
Naturally, what we see here reflects what we are living. The Egyptian people hope that Mubarak's presidential term in office will be extended under the current circumstances. Amending Constitutional Article 76 satisfies many public demands concerning the election regulations. We believe that we have achieved progress recently through this democratic process, and we will continue to do so gradually.
Covert Services Subcommittee warned that an armored Egyptian military presence along the Philadelphia route could signal a return of Egyptian military sovereignty in eastern Sinai.
Without total withdrawal from Gaza Strip, including Philadelphia axis, our withdrawal from Gaza Strip will be very, very problematic, and it will be conceived as a partial withdrawal, that is to say, no withdrawal whatsoever.
How much do you trust the Egyptians?
I don't trust them. I just don't trust them. In fact, if they would have stopped the ongoing smuggling of illegal weapons to the Palestinians in Gaza, there would be then a basis, a reason to really have some faith in them.
Once the Egyptians put as a precondition to their willing to deploy the forces alongside the Philadelphia road, also a full-fledged deployment of two divisions alongside the entire border between Israel and Egypt. This is something that starts to concern me.
I think that it's very, very bad decision, very, very big mistake.
Israeli security forces clashed with Israeli, Palestinian, and international activists from the Anarchists Against the Fence movement today. This after the demonstrators tied themselves to olive trees near the West Bank village Bilan. The protesters were trying to prevent Israel from uprooting several olive groves in the area in order to make room for the security fence. The civil administration had announced that in order to make room for construction, the olive groves had to be transferred to another location. Police at the site arrested 5 of the demonstrators. Bilan, which is north of the Jerusalem-Modi'in highway, has been the site of several anti-fence demonstrations of late. Hundreds of dunams of land in the area have been confiscated to make way for the security barrier.
Italian politicians have given mixed reactions to a new report on the death of Italian Secret Service agent Nicola Calipari in Iraq. It blames US military authorities for failing to signal there was a checkpoint ahead on the Baghdad road where American soldiers killed Calipari. Italian investigators behind the 52-page report concluded that stress, inexperience and fatigue played a role in the shooting. No evidence was found to indicate that the March 4th killing of Agent Calipari was deliberate. Still, Italy has refused to sign off the US conclusion that its soldiers bore no blame for Calipari's death. The two sides issued separate reports after a joint investigation.
Now it is completely clear that we have unfortunately one more reason to ask for the withdrawal of the Italian contingent from Iraq, considering that our allies, the Americans, are not reliable even when they establish a checkpoint.
The checkpoint was activated in an illegal way, as the Italians think, in order to cover the passing by of somebody who never passed. This is a very ambiguous issue, which had been kept secret and then revealed in the American report, and which is also quoted in the Italian report. I think it is the most important issue in this story. It is not Calipari's car speed, but it is something that has to do with some plans to counter Italian autonomous positions in the Middle East, not only on the hostage thing.
A former U.S. Army translator who worked at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center in Cuba has released a book. In it, he alleges that prisoner abuse and interrogations were staged for the benefit of visiting officials. Former Army Sergeant Eric Saar, who worked as a translator at Guantanamo from December 2002 to June 2003, has made the allegations in a new book called Inside the Wire. In it, he claimed prisoners were subjected to severe cold, chained in painful positions, subjected to sleep deprivation, and tempted by female interrogators.
Taney was told that the interrogator was menstruating and that he was led to believe that she had menstrual blood on her hand, and she wiped it on him.
Saar also said that false interrogations were set up to give visiting generals and politicians the impression valuable information was being gleaned on a regular basis. Compliant prisoners were asked to repeat already known information in front of the visitors.
Not only was it counterproductive, and it didn't produce great intelligence, it didn't produce very good intelligence at all.
Southern Command spokesman Colonel David McWilliams said Saar's charges would be included in investigations into alleged abuse at the center.
The team, in fact, took them very seriously and decided to roll the allegations from Mr. Saar's book into their investigation into the detainee abuse at Guantanamo.
The U.S. military's Southern Command, which has responsibility for the detention center, on Monday denied it had staged interrogations.
Day, which is celebrated in March, the Institute for Women's Studies in the Arab World at the Lebanese American University is holding a photography exhibition. Due to the latest developments in Lebanon, the event was postponed for 2 months. This year's theme is veils. Through pictures taken across the region, most of which shot by Ayman Mroué and Delphine Garde, this year's photographic overview at LAU presented the historic story of veils in their various aspects.
Our exhibit is called Veils, not veil. It is not the veil, it is veils. And we've put the S between parentheses. Now, why did we decide to do so? Because there is a universality about the veil that is very, very rarely recognized.
Veil, a piece of often sheer or diaphanous material used to screen or curtain something or to cover the head or face. Veiling has been part of various cultural traditions even prior to the birth of monotheistic religions. According to specialists, veiling in various ways and social contexts was practiced in ancient Persia, Mesopotamia, Greece, and pre-Islamic Arabia. It was part of a system. In recent years, veiling has been associated to Muslims and Islam.
What we tend to think of nowadays is the veil. The veil being associated with the Islamic tradition or the Islamic religion. In fact, this is not true. I mean, women have veiled themselves since very, very ancient times, before Christianity, before Judaism, and before Islam, definitely. The fact that it is linked with Islam now is something that is actually historically wrong. And it is the main purpose behind, therefore, our exhibit is to try to highlight the fact that the veil has always existed, that the veil is a sign of modesty in some cases. In some cases, women feel liberated because they wear the veil, but the veil has always been there. So our message, we hope that we will be able to somehow, if you want to try to increase the awareness of people about the importance of tolerance, the importance of freedom of choice, the importance of freedom of expression.
Director of the Institute for Women's Studies at LAU, Mona Shmeli Khalaf said, through centuries, the wearing of veils underwent diverse cyclical phases.
Women in Islam has gone through various phases. We have started with a phase of veiling that was followed with a phase of deveiling and a phase of reveiling again. You know, with the beginning of Islam, women started veiling, then unveiling became a sign of liberation. And women started unveiling with the idea that if they get unveiled, they can liberate quote-unquote, themselves. So the unveiling started from the upper social classes in Islam and went down to the grassroots. Now we're going through a process of reveiling, where it is starting from the lower classes and going up to the higher social echelons. So the veil has gone through cyclical phases in Islam, and not only in Islam. Now if you take Christianity, in the case of Christianity, women used to be veiled. Now if you take the nuns, for instance, nuns are still veiled, but in a completely different manner. There has been an evolution of the veil in Christianity. It has disappeared in some cases, but in some cases it's still there. If you look, for instance, during the funerals of the Pope, all women who were there were wearing some kind of a veil.
It can be noticed that women from all religious confessions wear the veil differently. Covering oneself varies from covering the hair to their entire faces or body with long clothing. Specialists studying the religious aspect of veils in monotheistic religions claim that the Bible states, "Every man praying or professing, having his head covered, dishonors his head. But every woman prays or professing with her head uncovered dishonors her head." According to those translating the Christian holy book, the reason for veiling is, quote, "The man was not created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power of her head because of the angels." Some experts say in Islam and Judaism, veiling is more related to covering up beauty. According to scholars, early rabbinic literature regarded women's hair as beautiful and erotic, and for that reason, it had to be covered. Later rabbinic literature reinforces women to cover their hair, viewing it as an integral part of the Jewish religious observance. Scholars say that in Islam, the hijab is vague, allowing different interpretation to emerge on how one must cover herself. One example they point to is Surah 24, verses 30-31, in Islam's holy book, the Quran, which states, "Say to the women believers that they cast down their eyes and guard their private parts, and not to reveal their adornments, save such as in outward, and let them cast their veils on their bodies."
There are here very different interpretations about how the religious books have, quote-unquote, imposed the veil on women. Different feminists have interpreted differently the verses of the Quran. Some of them tell you no, there are verses in the Quran that impose the veil on women. Others tell you no.
Many women from the various confessions agree wearing veils was a personal decision and a means to express their beliefs. But others raise the role of families and governments, such as Iran, where even non-Muslims must cover their hair.
So covering one's hair, was important in Christianity because the woman was considered to be subordinate in a sense to men. You know, men was much more representative of an image of God than women were. So women got veiled. In other religions as well, women got veiled. I mean, even in if you take the Jewish religion, in the Bible there is no really any serious command on the woman to get veiled. But because of culture, because of tradition, women got veiled. So the veil meant different things in different religions and in different cultural contexts.
But this exhibition, which is open to the public until Thursday, May 12th, stresses awareness that the veil and veiling have been weaved in both Western and Eastern cultures for millennia, from aristocratic women throughout history to contemporary brides across the world. Sarah Khouri, Future TV, Beirut.
The views expressed on Mosaic are not those of Link TV or its sponsors, but of the broadcasters themselves. Mosaic is made possible by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, which promotes journalism excellence worldwide and invests in the vitality of 26 U.S. communities, and the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. Additional support is provided by the Firedoll Foundation and Henry and Virgilia Dakin.